going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to a special guest. Welcome to a special video, actually. Welcoming onto the channel, I think for the first time, Steve.
Yeah, mate. We've done loads of stuff together, but it's the
Since I
first
started
time
United View, yeah. I think it's been way too long, actually. Mr. Steve McInerney from Esteem Company. Big City fan, doing great content for City. How you doing, bro?
Mate, I'm good. I didn't expect to be making videos with people about a guy in a suit, but this is football in 2024, isn't it, I guess, these days?
It is, and I didn't expect to be doing a video of you talking about Mr. Omar Berrada as well. But do you know what? All jokes aside, I think there's been so much on social media, and obviously we're rivals, and we always want to see City do badly. You guys have been smashing it. You're laughing at us, but it is. We know that. But I think actually for the purpose and context of this video, I wanted to actually park a lot of that and speak to somebody who I know has got a cool head and will actually inform me, you know, of the best of their opinions and stuff and what they know. And I know you've got a lot of links in the club and stuff like that. So the purpose of this video, guys, is to just put the rivalry aside for a second and let's talk about Omar Berrada and what sort of role he's had at City, what type of man he is, how shocked or upset you are, or maybe not, to see him leave. Just a bit of an insight, Steve, from a City fan's perspective.
So immediately the caveat is there's a tendency, because we're on a football channel, to talk about him as if he's a footballer. We don't know how good he is, if that makes sense. We don't, because I don't know how well he writes on a whiteboard, you know, or whatever. I don't know how good he's at a checklist. But I think all you can do is look at the level that he's been involved at City. And of course, he's been at City for an awful long time, like well over a decade. I think it was 2011 that he joined from Barcelona. So he's not actually scared of making a big move, you know, and he's sort of rose through the ranks to many different roles, to his most recent promotion, of course, as you guys know, watching this, to being sort of chief football operations officer for the City Football Group, which of course covers a whole plethora of clubs around the world. Before that, he was essentially, I don't remember his exact titles, but it was just sort of like, lots of financial stuff, basically. He was involved in all the deals, commercial, all that kind of stuff, basically. And he's obviously a really well-respected guy. I mean, if you want to measure his importance, you can sort of judge by how Guardiola talks, because Guardiola talks about certain members of staff relatively commonly. He'll mention Ferran Soriano, he mentioned Cheeky Briggenstein a lot, and he mentions Omar as well. So Omar comes up in a first person, like a reference every now and then. He'll go, Omar or Ferran or Cheeky. He mentions those people quite often. So that implies to me that I don't think the top tier literally are obviously Calhoun, the chairman, Ferran Soriano, Cheeky, but they're the one below them slightly, but still very near the top. It was Omar Berrada, and he's obviously massively involved with City's football operations in general. So I think it's fair to say he's a pretty key part of the team. And it's not confusing to see why, you know, your new ownership has gone in for someone with that experience. I mean, obviously, I don't know directly how good he is, but he's obviously a big part of what. It's funny because
what you've been doing, if he's part of that team.
Well, that's it. I mean, as a City fan, it's funny for me because I'm like, wait, are City actually all built on dodginess, or actually are we quite good? Is there all sort of a mission that City must be pretty good at what they do, or some of the
mate, I'll be honest, I'll take that question. There's been an admission of that for ages. We're just jealous. Like, do you know what I mean? It's true, and obviously the thing with the fans, to bring it to that bit, is like, as United fans, obviously we've prided ourselves off of, you know, the way that we've been successful versus the way that you have. But essentially, I ain't going to sit here and lie to you, bro. I wanted Qatar to buy us. So, you know, it's that for me has changed now. I hold my hands up. That has changed. Like, it has, because, you know, and then obviously the 115 charges, City are guilty, this, that, and the other, kick them out the league, get them relegated, because nobody wants to see Man City at the top. Like, apart from Man City fans, of course.
The thing is, the most hated. It's really obvious to that your new owner sees value in what he does, and I think there is an element of truth in that. And like we'll get on to. There's no point in diving into the FFP stuff because we'll go around the houses forever, and that'll unravel itself in time. But I don't think you can be as successful as your club, Manchester City, are without some form of competency. Even if you talk about all the allegations, you have to have competency there, because look at Chelsea. There's a lot of money there, but an awful lot of incompetency. And look where they are in the league right now. And look at United. You guys know you've spent an awful lot of money the past few years and an awful lot of incompetency. Even if, hypothetically, City were breaking rules, even if they are, and that'll come out eventually in the woods if it's true or not, you still have to be able to do it well. You know what I mean? You still have to, it still has to be a reasonable level of competency. You still have to sign good footballers. You still have to have a tightly run ship. And I don't know, obviously, the extent of all that. But what I do know is that Omar Berrada is obviously a man he's meticulous. He pays attention, by the way. He follows me on Twitter, so he's obviously, I think he follows a lot of people within the City space.
You didn't say that, mate. You didn't drop that one in there, mate. You drop him a little DM, mate. Find out what's going on.
He replied to me a long time ago, but I did think I've been sort of retweeting some bannery stuff about him recently. So I hope he's not.
Yeah, I bet you have. He's going to unfollow you very quickly.
You all saw the tweets. To be fair, they were hilarious about
Yeah. But you know what? Some people were laughing at us with that, and I saw it as bloody good. He's top level at City. He should be doing his job.
It's context at the time. I think City were going against
100%.
United, so it
just shows he's loyal.
The thing is, I think it's fair to say that I understand why United fans would be excited by this. Once again, you can't be cake and eat. You can't be we're incompetent, and you have to accept there's a level of competency here.
100%.
That's why. But you're right. I think you're right. My initial reaction when this was announced was like, oh, that's a blow, actually. And I'm not worried as such because I do think the way that City is set up is that, there's so many parts to what makes City work so well as a unit. They're not all... there's an even parallel with Ferguson, for example. I think it might be hard for some United fans to admit, but I think Ferguson ran everything at United. He basically did. And I think a big part of why when United fell apart when he left is because he left a vacuum and, a big hole where his imprint was. And I think the one thing we know as City fans is we know about our club is that we've seen so many coaches go. Arteta's gone, people like that. João Marlilo left for a while, and we've lost Enzo Maresca went to Leicester. We've lost so many coaches, but it doesn't matter because Pep has got such a team around him, and staff have moved on. We've lost our head scout at one point, Joe Shields, to Southampton, then to Chelsea, and so many scouts and so on have gone. But we continue to be fine. You
always reinvent yourself. The same with the playing squad. Like when you sell players. You
just move on because it's just planning and succession. So I'm not worried about City, but a small part of my back of the head was like, from a City fan, I'm sort of slightly worried that United might be a bit competent. So they're like,
someone else said that to me the other day. Like, Man United have actually gone and got, without anybody knowing as well, the Ineos have come in. Normally something this big, you'd be like, the little leaks here and there. It was just done. City statement, he's resigned. Man United statement, he's our guy. It was like, within 24 hours, like we've got someone this competent. Is there that feel? Talk to me a little bit about that, Steve, in terms of like you said, he's been part of your organisation over the last 10 years, so that means he's definitely got a good level of competency. Someone of that ilk coming to Man United, that does slyly worry you that they might start getting things right.
Yeah, there's obviously, as a lifelong City fan, I've enjoyed the last 10 years immensely. Because the things have shifted. I'm 38, so I do remember when things were the exact opposite as they are now. And it does make me go, they've actually got someone decent in there. The caveat, and I'm not just trying to be bitter here, the caveat is that a lot of very successful people have gone to United and struggled in the middle of the storm. And I don't know if you've had it before, but I've personally had it. Like I've gone to jobs and feel like I'm a reasonably functional person, but been sort of bogged down by everything else and felt like a shell of a person.
They've got to change because everyone who comes to Man United in whatever capacity, from the tea lady right up to a CEO or whatever, fails. Yeah,
exactly. So, and that's the thing is, he could be the one to sort that out. It's going to be a big job for him. It's hard to change the entire culture of a club, and he's sort of still very much he'll be still trying to deal with the ghost of Ferguson in that club still, because that has been haunting United for an awful long time. And I think that's where you're going to need someone brutal. And I think a lot of people don't understand. I know City have money, but they spend it well and they take good decisions, and they're also willing to call bad decisions pretty quickly. And that's, I think United have been really bad at it for an awful long time.
And this is what we're seeing,
with Martial and people that are still here. There's no way he would have been gone after a year or two at City.
But this is where we saw the quotes of what Fabrizio Romano was saying about Omar. He's saying, 1 to 2 years, if you haven't cut the mustard, see you later. Like,
that's common
those
sense,
are the standards. Yeah, exactly. But these are the failings at Man United. Everything you said is true, and this is what all of us United fans are completely aware of. And this is why, with the change of ownership or the change of, should I say, input and the sporting direction going differently, because the Glazers are still the majority owners.
Yeah.
But with Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in and having an emphasis on this type of stuff, the biggest thing we could do is change structurally and make better decisions. Because, like you said, we're just going to be stuck in a rut. And I see it as Omar's obviously being. There's two ways of looking at this. One is, like you said, it's big pressure because Man United's been a graveyard for so long,
and it's a promotion.
But what I like about him, exactly. But what I like about him taking this job clearly is the fact that obviously he's going to chief head honcho. And it proves that he's probably looking at it like, but then if I can be the man to actually turn Man United around, look at the status I'll get then. if that was under his stewardship. He's literally CEO. And
Absolutely.
I was going to ask you this: is it true? I was reading that with the Athletic and some other like quite credible pieces. Is it true that he was kind of seen as next in line to kind of keep going up the ranks and potentially even get to, what's his name? Cheeky
Bergenstein.
Yeah.
I don't know directly the answer to that, but I do think there's an element of interchangeable competency with all their jobs, because they we've seen in the documentaries for City fans, we've seen them, they're all sort of chatting to each other, they're all involved in decisions.
I might watch that now.
Berrada has definitely been involved in completing deals. He was definitely more of the money man in transfers. Like, I know that a lot of talk was about him securing the Haaland thing. I don't think he secured it in any sense other than he sorted the contracts out, because I know Cheeky is the guy who picks up the phone still and makes the calls, because he's got a lot of contacts, ex-football player, Barcelona, Cheeky Bergenstein. He's really respected from the game, and he's one of the best football directors in football. And he lays all the groundwork. But I think Berrada's been the guy to sort of complete deals, because he's more of a finance guy, basically. So I do think if someone had left, there would have been a general stepping stone effect. Someone else would have gone up, and he would have moved up probably one or two. I don't know if he would have gone to the very top, but there's obviously an implicit level of trust for him, given how long he's been there, and he is in that inner circle. The thing is, obviously, the caveat would be is like, well, it's all very good. It's all very good being really good at your job, but now you've got to see how good he is as a CEO, because CEOs, they're the bosses, Like Fran Soriano is City's. And you don't know how good Berrada is at spotting talent or hiring people or telling people what to do to an extent. And obviously, he'll have those qualities, but to run a club like Man United is massive. Even I can admit that. And it's one of those things where that is his biggest step now, to see how he can deal with being the one who everyone looks at, everyone makes the calls, because he's still looking up at quite a few people at City. So he's one of those things where the sword won't always fall on him. If something goes wrong, it'll fall on Pep, it'll fall on Fran Soriano, it'll fall on Cheeky Bergenstein first, even Carl Doon, the chairman. So he's at the top table, but he's not the full captain. He's sort of like a vice kind of captain kind of thing going on. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles that. To be honest, I think he'll be fine. He seems really competent to be involved at this level once again, to have that trust, and to be.
Do you think he's elite? Do you think he's elite to be involved in this? Elite at what he does, to be involved. I have no idea. For Pep to be happy, like, well,
he's got a really good LinkedIn profile. Put it that way, man. So like he's obviously got a lot of experience. Once again, it's very hard to judge him because we don't see him day to day. He could be just the best pencil pusher of all time. He could just be the best yes man, but he could also just be a brilliantly good exec, and that's probably what he likely is. Only time will tell that, but you don't only ever judge someone on their CV, I know it sounds, and there's a lot of kind of shade thrown at City, but we judged Calvin Phillips on his CV, when we signed him, England player, Leeds, Bielsa trained, and I think, obviously I'm in the City space, I understand why I see more information, but what Pep said about Phillips, and I've got a metaphor it, what Pep said about Phillips was that, he's only realised when he was here that he can't do certain things that he's asked him. So basically, Phillips, and we see it now as City fans when he comes to the pitch, he just doesn't move in the way that the other players do. And for whatever reason, he can't pick it up. And the point I'm making here is that you can look at someone's CV and go, that should work. But when they come in, you train them, they just can't do it. And Calvin Phillips should have been a nailed-on good player for Man City. He should have been logically, England international, Bielsa trained, possession football, but he just can't pick it up. And maybe he could have with time, I don't know, but Guardiola decided early on in training he couldn't do it. So the point I'm making here is you can look at someone's CV, Omar Berrada's, and you think, I should be able to do this. But he also might not be able to. We don't know until you get hands-on. But all you can turn around and say is that 90% of the boxes are being ticked off. And I hate to admit that on a United channel as a City fan, but Berrada, you look at him and go, well, yep, he's got that experience. He has that inner knowledge, unfortunately, of one of your biggest rivals. He does know.
Does that worry you? I know you're a man that keeps your cards close to your chest. So you don't really like getting involved all the time in there. Does it worry you that actually he does know your deepest, darkest secrets? Or do you think actually you can go in there and maybe poison their ship? Maybe he's maybe industry plant.
I'm quite cynical, actually. I think everyone knows everything about everyone. I really do. I've been around scouts and they all talk. Everyone knows everything, and so I'm not worried because all the clubs are scouting the same players. They've all got the same list. They just do. It's genuinely accepted, and it's just then decision making at that point. So he will know the transfer targets. He will do. He will know City's plan. But I suspect a lot of people do because thousands of people make up these clubs, literally thousands. And like, there's a reason like team lineups get leaked out because they just go through like I don't know, Kitman or whatever or physio. Information comes out of football clubs so readily and
all the time.
I mean, the only thing is now you got to get a lot more information from Ornstein because I'm pretty certain Ornstein's guy at City was Berrada, so like that was his league at City.
Is that why because he just came through swinging? Just this has happened.
Absolutely, it was Berrada.
First one, and he never misses.
No, so that's it. You're going to get. I think there'll be a lot less City stories for us because from Ornstein, but more for United for you guys. But I can't say I'm worried because once again, I've just seen. Well, once again, I care more about what's on the pitch naturally. I was more worried about David Silva leaving, Vincent Kompany leaving, Sergio Aguero. leaving. They're bigger losses. They're bigger losses.
Or if Pep Guardiola left.
Exactly, that's it. But when it comes to, there's always going to be a new brilliant businessman who's waiting to step up and who's been watching Omar Berrada for ages. I don't know if they'll be as good, but I suspect as long as the very, very top chain are still there, it'll be fine. But the biggest worry for me, once again, is that you might actually have some competence. So we'll see.
United will have competence. I'll take that. If for Steve, listen, guys, and if you don't know Steve McInerney, for Steve to say that, I'm taking that as he's worried. But listen, no, thank you. Yeah, we really appreciate that, Steve. Thanks for coming on and giving us sort of your take on it as a City fan. Because obviously, as United fans, I've been, cautiously optimistic. I think it's a step in the right direction, and to read between the lines, not even read between the lines, from what you've just said there as well, to say it how you've said it, shows that we're getting some, and it backs up, like you said, with the CV and how a lot of other very, very credible people are talking about him.
He's a safe bet, put it that way. He's a very safe bet. And I think that's what you can ask for in football. Football is all about risk, isn't it, and balancing it. And this is like, it's like when City signed Kovacic, they knew he was going to be a good footballer and from Chelsea. And look, don't know if he was going to be great or not, but he's going to be at least good. And that's what he's been because of all the experience in the background. And he's going to be, he's going to be good for you. He's going to be because I don't know how good, if he can change things, because that's very hard to do. But you've got clearly a talented exec there.
There you go, Steve. Thank you very much. You guys check out Steam Company as well. If City ever lose a game and you want to go and see a little bit of despair, the odd time here or there, which isn't much, but it counts for something. The link is in the description below. Make sure you go check out Steve's channel. Steve, thanks for coming on, bro. I really appreciate it, man.
A pleasure, mate.
Take care. All right, take care, guys.